you see the red light. Look into the light. Okay, here we go. Freebie journals. Take 2, action.
Here we are. We have another freebie journal for you. And if this looks a little bit familiar, well, it might, because we have given this particular soft cover 5.5 by 8 journal away before, but I feel like Vanna White, but the imagery on the front was different.
Except for Vanna didn't talk a lot, or much at all, or at all.
Are you suggesting I shut up?
No.
Feel free to let you talk.
No, but I think Vanna said nothing.
She doesn't say very much.
Nothing, no.
So anyway.
Pat, say Jack.
The imagery is a little bit different, but this is a 5.5 by 8.5 soft cover staple bound journal. The paper inside is 95 pounds and it is white, kind of a mixed media type of paper. Elizabeth, why don't you show the mirror stuff? Because the cover is you want to slide in the frame here? The cover is more interesting.
So I colored the white stuff with Posca, which was kind of cool. And
then you stamped. Let me help you with it. You need to understand. We did this once, except that when she turned the camera on, she actually turned the camera off. So we're now doing it a second time. We're punching ×2 at this point.
×2. Yeah. Oh, so anyway, so the artwork on the front was I did in the computer, but from my long stem floral botanical stamps. So the idea that I had was to embellish the back of the journal by using the same stamps and stamping in white and then coloring all of it with our favorite Posca pens.
Right. And the interesting thing is that when you're painting on what's imprinted on the cover, or you're painting on what you actually print on the back, it's all really the same feel. I mean, nothing really changes. It's the same process. You're just painting on what you stamped. So if you wanted to pick one of Elizabeth's other foam stamps, there's been a whole variety of various ones, but
that one too.
Yeah. So if you want to pick a different foam stamp and put it on the back cover, you can certainly do that, or you could just doodle randomly on the back cover.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth is showing you the covers, and she'll show you how she stamped on the back. And then for the inside, I did a variety of things. So you can gel print right on the page. That's what I did here. And then I used some of the long stem flowers to decorate that page. Or you can adhere. This is a gel print from earlier in the week that I just cut to fit, where I adhered it and then trimmed it after the fact, but you can do that. You can put paint on with a brayer someplace in here. I sprayed, and I still didn't look up the name of the stencil. You know, this was from Patterns for Layering 3. I just sprayed some mica stains on here. You can kind of see the shimmer. And then I went back and I put some color through a stencil. So there's a variety of ways. You'll see me. I'll show you how this is actually wet strength tissue. But you'll see there's a variety of ways that you can work on these pages. Now, 98 pounds is not super heavy, but I will also show you how you can take some sticky stuff and put 2 pages together. So you start with 48, but if you stick them all together, then you have 24, but it's still a lot of surfaces to create on.
Oh, and I almost forgot to do this.
Oh, that's right, yes.
This is my favorite thing to do with my long stem foam stamps.
That's right.
Which is what I stamped on the back with, but mostly I just want to be a beetle bug.
Yes, you do. Mission accomplished.
Oh, and then the other thing we wanted to say, or I wanted to say, is if you want to just leave this white and do nothing on the back, that's fine too.
Oh, you know what we forgot to say? Because this is what happens when you have to do it twice.
What?
We're going to
Pat Sajak.
The parameter of the giveaway is we'll give you 1 journal for each $50 you spend on products other than gift certificates. And that's unlimited. So if you spend 100, we'll give you 2, and so on. We don't know when this video is going to air. We don't know when the promotion is actually going to run. So look in the description box below, and the dates that are the offer is available will be listed there.
There you go. Everything you need to know is in the description box below the video.
We could have stopped talking a long time ago.
Right. All right.
Let's go do it.
So this is the freebie journal as it comes. And Barb and I decided to make my artwork on the front in white so that you could choose to add color to it if you would like to. And it basically gives you kind of a blank and bright space to add color. You can add color with all kinds of different materials. I think in the past we've done woodies and watercolor or paint and other things. But so today I am going to be doing Posca pens. Anyway, so I'm using Posca pens on the white part, but the beauty of the Posca pens is that they're opaque, so they also show up over the black part. So here's the journal as you will receive it if you are so lucky. And here is the beginning of me doodling with the Posca pens onto the journal. So adding the color is pretty self-explanatory, but one thing that I found was fun to do was to bring back the white and the black. So if I wanted to make an opening or make a pattern on the white that looks like it's coming through from the back, I can add that black. And if I want to add more things like another leaf, I can add it in the white. So you can modify this by adding with black and white, like another leaf this way. And that's kind of fun. So you can kind of make the design your own by adding elements. And then, let's see, those should come all the way down. We should put one out here. There. And then with the black, I had some fun with like making dots on the white or crosshatch marks or like cross marks in the leaf. So I really had fun working the black and white with the base drawing and then just adding color with the Posca pens either over the white and also over the black. So I can add elements this way as well. And that's what's so cool about these pens is because they're totally opaque. We couldn't do this with other medium that we've experimented with in terms of going over the black. So like, for example, I can make this open, let it dry, and then add more marks. And what I enjoy, you can see I'm using a couple of different greens in here. I always try to mix up the greens. So rather than using the same pen to do the entire green leafy thing, I'll add in some other colors like the teal, like this yellow. We have like light green and dark green and different tips. Here's a really fine point tip where I can add those marks like this. And just to sort of mix up the greens, here's a big tip of a dark green, but if I go light with it, I can put that in here and maybe I add that to here. And so you get the idea. But I love that about the white and black, that you can kind of pull the color through. Like here's another thing I had fun with when I was playing with the other one is adding the dots back into the pink that I put on the white areas. And it looks like, you know, basically it looks like it's going down through to the base color. So that's a lot of fun. And then on this, I probably did a little bit more coverage than I wanted, so I could bring back some of the white here if I want to bring white back on top. Make that look like it's got a nice seedy center. So yeah, so there you go. So basically, that's how I'm using the Posca pens to color on the black and to colorize the white area. And then something else fun that I thought I would do is to bring the art around to the back. So what you need to know is that this design from the front was created from my long stem botanical foam stamps, and we printed it on the cover. So what you can do if you want to be inspired to create something on the back that mimics what's on the front, I'm using opaque white paint, and I'm using it on the gel plate just to use it, the gel plate to apply the paint evenly to my foam stamps. So I'm gonna lay out a strip of that and get real good coverage on my long stem botanical. So sometimes that means just tapping it in there, or sometimes Barb said she likes to add it with the brayer. That works too. A little bit of both, but you want to get good thick coverage of the white, and then come back here and stamp it. Oh, perfect. And the last one that I did wasn't perfect. I had a little missed area, and what worked out great for that was to come back in with the white pen, and you can just touch up if you don't have a perfect stamp. So that takes away some of the stress. If you don't get a perfect impression, you can fix it up with the white. Posca. All right, here we go. Trying to get a little more coverage on this too. Okay, and then I'll do this one. And you remember the cool thing about these foam stamps is you can bend the stems because they're so thin. So you can sort of put it at an angle or a curve that you like. So here I'm bending it rather than keeping it straight. And look at that.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So now when that dries, you can color it in the same way as the front, including adding those elements. So if you want to add more leaves to it, like that. So there you have it. And I found that this area right up here was a great place to write the year of my journal. So I'm going to add that. So my handwriting is terrible, but it is my handwriting. And that's nice to have too.
At least you wrote 2025 this time. I mean, yesterday at one point you wrote 2024.
I was still writing 2024 yesterday.
It's early in the year.
Yeah, so there you go. You can customize the back. You can customize the front. You can add. You can, with white, you can subtract with black and just have fun with it.
Now that Elizabeth has shown you how you can customize the covers, I'm going to talk a little bit about the inside. So the first thing that happens is when you open this up, there's a black blank inside cover, which I never find very attractive. So this is a gel print, and I used some of our sticky stuff and I adhered it in place. I'm going to show you how I brayer colors on to get this kind of patchy effect. And I've done a little bit. I did a gel print on here. I've come in with some of the long stem botanicals or florals or wildflowers because they were 3 releases. This is another example of where I just brayered some color on a page. So let's talk now about these pages. They are 98 pound, as I said in the introduction. And there's no way that you can stop them from warping even a little bit, because even if you're very thoughtful about how much liquid you apply. That's just the nature of the beast. But there is a way to avoid that, or there is a way to mitigate that. I guess avoided is not really the right word. If you take sticky stuff and you adhere 2 pages together, well, now you have 98 pounds times 2, plus the layer of adhesive that goes in there. So that's an opportunity to kind of soften that so that those pages stick together and then they don't get a chance to bend quite so much. So you put the sticky stuff on and you trim it to fit the page. So I now have sticky here, and I'm gonna take this page and I'm gonna start with my fingers toward the binding, and I wanna just push this over so that it lays nice and flat and press it in place. And if the page doesn't line up exactly like this one didn't right here, I would come back and trim that off and nobody's the wiser. At that point, now I have this nice sturdy page. This one was done with, this is one of the Patterns for Layering 3 stencil. I don't remember the name of it. And I used Tim's Distress mica stains on here. So this was dip and dab. I sprayed them on my surface and I tapped and dried and then tapped some more to get some additional layers.
Oh, sure. You don't remember the name of my stencil, but you remember Tim's Drip and
Mica stains, sister.
Right. I know who's on the top of your list.
It encompasses a big group of products as opposed to the name of one stencil. I did remember it was Patterns for Layering 3 though.
All right, fine.
So when you have something like a gel print, this happens to be on wet strength tissue. The process is very much the same like which I just showed you when you want to adhere 2 pages together. So I have some sticky stuff that's already on this page and it's already trimmed, and I've peeled the corners back so I can actually get the backing paper off, except for right here. Here they are. So now I have sticky right here. And I have trimmed the side here so that I have a nice straight edge that I'm going to turn and I'm going to stick in that binding. And I'm going to make certain that the piece of wet strength tissue is a little bit longer on the other 3 sides, so that all I have to do once this is in place is come back and, my finger's stuck, come back and, you find that funny, don't you? Come back and just trim that edge. So here, it's on, we're good to go. So you can print on something and adhere it to a page. You can print directly on the page. You can apply paint. You can apply sprays. There's just a whole wealth of ways that you can work with this. So let's use this page, and I'm going to work upside down because I'm right-handed. I like to work on the right-hand side. So I have 3 colors of Amsterdam acrylic paint. These are all they're all in the pink and coral family, so there's no problem with anything making mud, although typically I apply a layer thinly enough that it's going to be dry by the time I get to the next color, but that's not even going to be an issue here. I'm just going to put that here so that this coral color doesn't get on the page that comes next. All right, and then I'm just going to, so this is a technique that I learned from Leandra at Paper Artsy. And one of the things that she was very insistent upon that makes perfect sense once you do this enough is that you keep your brayer moving perpendicular or parallel to the binding so that you're not working on an angle. You keep those moving side to side or top to bottom. And I have always found that I get good results when I do that. So when you work with this journal, and I hope that you will, and I hope that you enjoy it, you have lots of opportunities to try different techniques, to play around, use your stencils, do whatever it is that you do that makes you happy. And with a soft cover like this will easily go in a purse or a tote bag, so you can kind of carry it along with you. And if you have some time, you're sitting with your kid at the doctor's office, or you're at an after-school activity, this is a great way to come in and doodle or make notes or really do whatever it is that you want to. All right, so the first color was Venetian Rose. The second color is Permanent Red Purple. And this third color is Permanent Red Violet. That's probably more paint than I needed, but this is what happens sometimes. So again, I'm just going to come in and kind of touch this here and there to add some of this dark. And if I think I've obliterated too much of that peachy color, it's easy enough to come back and add more. I worked quite a bit on the two that I did previously because I ended up not being satisfied, and I kept coming back. And you just keep layering paint till you're happy with it. So whether you use sprays or paint, you use an applicator, you use a brayer, there's a bunch of different techniques that you can do or that you can use to decorate these pages.
Well, that's all we have for you this week, right?
We're done.
That was enough.
It was, yeah. But you know what? Free journals, you can't go wrong. They're fun to play with. You can give them to the kids to play with. There's just a whole bunch of ways that you can use this stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see you back here next week.
Bye.